Atheist Nomads, episode 189, The Mormon Millennium.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin.
I'm Lauren.
And Wesley's out sick. He, last update I got,
He has croup.
Squeaky, and his voice is breaking, so...
No, the exact term was breaky.
Actually, no, he said breaking. I changed it to breaky.
Squeaky and breaky, I like that.
Squeaky and breaking.
Wicky.
Yeah, yep. So, yeah, that's why he's not here. Yeah, and it's almost ended up turning into me recording alone, and that would have been weird.
Luckily, the day was saved by Sonic milkshakes, because I was not going to record unless I had a milkshake. Because when you've had a rough week, milkshakes make it better.
All right, let's go ahead and move right into dusting off the degree. Actually, no, I need to pronounce that correctly. Dustin off the degree, since I'm Dustin. So we left off last time with Christ coming back to Earth to rule from the two Jerusalems, the old one for the Eastern Hemisphere in Israel and the new one for the Western Hemisphere in Missouri. That's the start of the millennium, according to Mormons. But before that, Jesus...
Independence, Missouri. I Googled it.
Oh, okay. But before that, Jesus will actually appear to the Jews on the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, and they will all weep for rejecting him as a people and will be instantly converted.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yes. Now, interestingly with this, the Mount of Olives is in East Jerusalem. I have been there. It is in the most Arab neighborhood in Jerusalem. Like, it was there and in front of the U.S. consulate were the two places where I actually didn't feel safe.
So not just Muslim, but like super like militant, scary?
It was just getting... And actually, not even necessarily Muslim. Like, there was a Russian Orthodox church in that neighborhood right up at the top, and a Greek Orthodox church, and there's probably...
Was it ghetto?
It was an Arab ghetto, but yeah. Anyway, it was... Yeah, it's a very... The Mount of Olives is a very Muslim area. Yes, there's a Jewish cemetery on the hill, but Jews don't go there very often, and they can't take cabs there unless they get an Arab cab driver, because Jewish cab drivers will get their cars stoned if they drive into those neighborhoods. So if Jesus is appearing to anyone at the Mount of Olives, it's the Muslims, not the Jews.
Must convert the Muslimen.
And if you look at Palestinian Arabs, a full third of them are Christian anyway.
But are they the right kind of Christian?
According to Mormons, probably not.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, then sometime later, he will come and his glory will outshine the sun. He'll boil the waters, melt the mountains, and burn all corruption. The righteous dead will be resurrected in two waves. Those who will get the highest kingdom first, and those who will get the second kingdom second. And then the...
Sloppy seconds.
And then the righteous living will rise to join them, and then immediately return back to the earth.
Everybody does, or just the living?
Everybody.
Everybody comes... Oh, okay. So they're like, here's your heaven. Psych!
No, all the corruption gets burned off the earth, and they go back to earth to live in a sin-free, non-corrupt planet.
Oh, I see.
Where Jesus is ruling. And, yeah. And Satan and his angels will be bound. I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe they're in jail. And there will be no sin. Missionary work will continue because not everybody will have had a chance to accept or reject the Mormon gospel. I'm a pretty staunch atheist, and even I have to admit that if mountains were melting and some sunny god-like creature was boiling oceans, I would probably convert. And also be aware that these things were happening. It's one of those where, yeah, there would then be evidence. Yeah, we're waiting for the evidence, that's all. And if the evidence that happened actually did coincide with mountains melting. Oh, that's a volcano. Uh-huh. And volcanoes can also cause oceans to boil. Uh-huh. So, Hawaii. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, basically. I found paradise, guys.
No, that's
post Earth burning.
After it's done, then it's paradise. Yeah. Yeah, if we had evidence, and if it was specifically the Mormon thing where Christ actually came down to Earth and ruled from two cities, that would be some pretty solid evidence. It would be a prediction they had made that was specific with specific details and a specific fulfillment that has never happened before. So,
and we're not holding our breath.
Yeah. Now, if Jesus doesn't touch ground, then the Adventists are right, because they believe that Jesus will not step foot on the earth until after the end of the millennium, but that there will be false Jesuses who will appear elsewhere.
On the ground.
And the way you can tell the difference is whether or not they actually touch foot on the earth.
Like a tornado.
So to an Adventist, the Jesus at the Mount of Olives would be a false Jesus.
Sorry, this is all new to me, so okay, this is fascinating.
So then, anyway, missionary work will continue, and so will temple services. And as more and more people are converted, and as the divine revelation guides people in completing their genealogies all the way back to Adam, they will continue to build more temples and continue to conduct baptisms for the dead.
Yeah, you know what's weird about the whole genealogy thing? People will charge you $2,500, $30,000 to track your genealogy all the way back to Adam. Heck, my mom could probably do it. She could be making buku bucks off of Mormons if she would just give up her, pride and documentation.
Yeah. She's done some genealogy on me, and finding stuff on Ancestry.com, tracing things back, not good enough. She's going to look at actual original documents.
Censuses and birth certificates, and she's a scientist. What can you say?
Yeah. Like even with my ancestor that was on the Mayflower, she actually pulled up the Mayflower Compact and checked for his name on it. And yes, he was a signatory. So
yay. He's showing off his genealogy there.
Yeah. But okay, yeah. So anyway, they're going to get all the way back to Adam, and that way everyone who has ever lived will have been baptized by the Mormons and will have an opportunity to accept that baptism if they so choose. They will also have the chance to go through the temple services themselves, but it'll be up to everyone as to whether or not they choose to do that. And then, while not in the temple or temples, people will be building houses and they'll work farms, and the living will die and instantly be changed, and children will grow old and presumably die and then also be instantly changed.
To what? Perfection?
Their immortal form.
Oh, okay. They don't have that 9-foot perfection.
That would come after they die.
Okay.
So it'd be you die, and then just like that, you're 9-foot tall perfection.
Ugh,
as opposed to the Adventists slowly growing to that.
Okay.
And when people are resurrected from the dead, they are resurrected. Their spirit is reunited with their perfect body, not their decrepit body.
Well, that's good, because that would suck too.
Yeah. And then those who get no kingdom will be resurrected for the final judgment at the end of the millennium, and Satan and his followers will be released, and they will go to war against God's army, which will be led by the Archangel Michael, who is actually Adam. And Adam/Michael's army will be victorious, and Satan, his angels, and the sons of perdition, those who personally knew God factually and rejected him, will be thrown into the outer darkness, and everyone else will get their kingdom assignments and live happily ever after.
Well, I'll be happy in the darkness.
Well, we wouldn't get... And that's one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, because we wouldn't get the outer darkness because we haven't known God factually and rejected him.
I don't know. If I did, I probably would have rejected anyway.
The difference is...
the Mormon God's a dick.
Those who don't have faith would get no kingdom, whereas those who didn't need faith and still rejected God. But that would actually require having to believe in God. Believing in God and thinking that he's bad. Or not believing, but knowing for sure that he is real.
I'm just saying, if that happens,
and rejecting him.
I would probably reject him and say, flip him off and go to the darkness.
I would definitely strongly consider joining Satan's army. Try doing some counter missionary work to recruit people to join Satan's army.
Hail Satan!
Yeah. All right. Oh, and an interesting point, though, is the Archangel Michael is an interesting one to be named because that ends up being the special archangel that most Christians believe is just an archangel. Adventists believe that is the angel form of Jesus, and Mormons believe it's the angel form of Adam. So let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back with news. Atheist Nomads is proudly brought to you by Archway Hosting. Check out their low-price, full-featured hosting solutions at archwayhosting.com. That's ARCHWAY hosting.com.
Hey, we're also brought to you by listeners just like you. Find out how you can become a patron at patreon.com/atheist nomads. That's patreon.com/atheist nomads.
Oh man, it's almost like Wesley was actually here. He's not.
Nope. When 2-year-old Ella Grace Foster died, the funeral home that was taking care of her remains reached out to the authorities since it's not common for a toddler to die at home from pneumonia.
Yeah, that's usually a hospital thing.
Yeah, hospital
clears up
death.
in a few days.
And if it is a death, it's a death at the hospital, and then it's not suspicious. So this is pretty suspicious. And additionally, a pathologist determined that with antibiotics, she would have had a 95% chance of survival, which actually seems low.
At least 90%.
Yeah,
95%.
Yeah. But her family is part of the Faith Tabernacle congregation in Reading, Pennsylvania. Her grandpa is the church's pastor. They do not believe in medicine and rely on prayer, anointing with oil, and God's will for healing.
Oh, so she was all oily too?
Yeah. The parents have both been charged with manslaughter, and the grandpa/pastor has been charged with failure to report child abuse, since pastors are mandatory reporters in Pennsylvania.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. And it's actually...
That's really cool, though.
That's
awesome that pastors are required to report, like counselors and teachers. And
normally they aren't, because the Catholic Church very, very strongly argues against and fights any kind of mandatory reporting for pastors.
Well, obviously they would. They're covering their ass.
They go with the sanctity of the confessional, that they need to be able to have people come to them, and usually there is some kind of a confessional exemption that gets built into it. So if somebody comes to you and confesses something they did wrong, you don't have to report it. If you witness it or you know it's happening, you need to do something about it.
Right, because they know then the people wouldn't report it, wouldn't confess, and then there would be all these people with sin. Yeah.
And you have to make sure that child rapists can go to heaven.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I said, they're covering their own asses there.
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently Pennsylvania's got a pretty solid law here that they're able to actually bring charges against a pastor. But other than that, yeah, this is a pretty standard faith healing case.
Yeah, we get a lot of those here in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think it's being brought up in the legislature again.
Yep.
So, yay.
Sticking with Pennsylvania, State Representative Rick Saccone held a rally last week to announce his plans to run for the U.S. Senate. He also was on a radio program. I think it was radio. Might have been TV. Anyway, we have audio from it. So here's the first part on why he's running.
Christians have to stand up and make sure that they have a say in their government and that they're protecting their rights and our religious liberties, which are being trampled on every day across this nation. And if we don't speak out, those liberties will be taken away. You can see it day after day, case after case.
Right. So From our point of view, it sounds like crazy talk because we recognize that as a majority, Christians get their way most 99% of the time. From a Christian point of view, who thinks that, because all of these guys seem to think that they're the victims, I can kind of see where he's coming from.
So he's actually...
he's just advocating office.
I cut out
people.
Some of the earlier part of why he thinks that, about what's government and church stuff like that is he pointed out that the church can't do much of anything without getting the government involved. Like, you want to put in a new bathroom, you have to go and get a building permit.
Yeah. You gotta build a safe bathroom.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was his example.
Churches should be able just to do whatever they want without anybody's goddamn permission.
Apparently.
Yeah, well, that's not how the world works.
And as far as Christians needing to protect their liberty, yeah, they are the majority. You don't need protections for the rights of the majority because legislatures will take care of that just fine.
As they have shown over and over and over.
You need protections for minorities, which is where the courts come into play. And so, yeah, he's not trying to protect the rights of Christians. No, he's trying to protect Christian privilege. But it's actually scarier than that. He continued.
God has set out a plan for us. He wants godly men and women in all aspects of life. He wants them people who will rule with the fear of God in them to rule over us.
Oh, I see where he's going with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much about liberty, protecting your liberty. It's about ruling over others and being top dog.
Yep.
He'll lose.
That's taking it beyond wanting privilege for Christians. He is running in the name of and for the sake of theocracy.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
So I wonder what kind of nasty Google search term we could turn his name into.
Well, if he were to actually win the U.S. Senate seat, I guarantee you he'd be the next Santorum. And I do have to bring this up. He's running for a U.S. Senate seat in Pennsylvania. Rick Santorum was a senator from Pennsylvania.
So you're saying it's not outside the realm of possibility that he could win?
He's got a chance.
Yay. All right, Pennsylvanians.
Yeah.
He'll run for office. Rule over those Christians with an iron fist.
Oh, man, yeah.
With respect to liberty. And minority rights.
It's crazy.
And humanism.
We normally talk about pastors doing something bad, so it's always nice to have one that breaks the mold, such as the Reverend David Wynn, a pastor at the Agape Metropolitan Community Church in Fort Worth, Texas, who is trans and who spoke out against Texas's anti-trans bathroom bill. During his speech that he gave from the Texas Capitol steps, he said, "In the beginning, God created humankind in God's image, so God is transgender. We're all created in the image of what is holy and divine and sacred, and we should all be treated that way. We're going to stop using God as an excuse to hate people. If God hates all the same people you do, then you've created God in your image." And this was in response to supporters of the bill saying that their support is because God created people male and female.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If God created people as male and female, then why is there intersex situations?
And why are there people who don't
physically and emotionally and mentally fit the dichotomy? Not the dichotomy, the binary. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and for somebody who's what's in between their ears and what's in between their legs doesn't match. If people were created in God's image, that would be part of that image.
Yeah. So yeah, don't use God for hate. I like that.
Yeah. And if you do want to go with the male and female, he created them male and female, not male or female.
That's true. I just like that his name is Win. He wins. He wins the game.
He's a trans pastor in Texas.
Yeah.
He wins.
And not in like Austin, but in Fort Worth.
Yeah. Well, Fort Worth, which is a major city and one of the largest metropolitan areas in the country.
Well, yeah, but it's not known to be as liberal as Austin.
Yeah.
And Dallas, for that matter. No, wait. I'm confusing it with something else. Never mind.
Yeah, Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Got it.
DFW. And sticking with Texas, in the interest of protecting doctors' rights and out of respect to disabled children, the Texas State Senate Affairs Committee has approved a bill that would allow doctors to lie to pregnant patients about the health of the fetus if they think the patient might get an abortion.
You hear that? That's the sound of my mind being blown.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is insanity.
Okay, doctors' rights versus patients' rights.
What the hell's doctors' rights? They're performing a service, not...
The key thing here, what it really comes down to is they're trying to make sure that a doctor who withholds information about the health of a fetus isn't going to get sued.
Yeah.
This is about protecting doctors who want to lie to their patients
about the health of their future child if they choose to have one. I'm sorry, there are situations where fetuses are not viable, and the parents deserve to know that.
Yeah.
This disgusts me. Utter disgust.
Yeah, and I had to just open this one with the rationale that the supporters are going with for this. You know, it's to protect doctors and to respect disabled children.
There will always be people out there who choose to have a child, whether it has Down syndrome or some other genetic predisposition. There will always be people who choose to have those children. That doesn't mean that they have the right to tell other people that they can, or they have to.
The South Dakota State Senate has passed, and the House State Affairs Committee has already advanced a bill that would allow for publicly funded religious foster care or adoption agencies to be able to deny children to anyone who doesn't live up to the agency's deeply held religious beliefs. In other words, they could deny children to same-sex couples, single parents, atheists, or anyone else the group deems unworthy.
But that includes poverty, that includes
interracial couples, people who'd been divorced before.
Holy crap. I mean, the list goes on and on. And adoption, the foster system is a serious problem. More people need to adopt, more people need to foster, and putting barriers up for that is just stupid.
And these agencies, there is a way that they can be free to discriminate. That is, stop taking government money.
Yeah, that's true. You know, if you want to be a religious adoptive agency that does not take money from the government, you can discriminate all you want.
Mm-hmm.
There's your solution. You don't need a bill. You don't need a law passed to prevent lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking government money. You can't do this shit.
That's the simple rule. Yeah.
And like I said, foster system is messed up, and anybody who is putting up barriers to getting these kids into homes is, I wouldn't say evil person, but they're definitely on the wrong side of the line there.
Yeah, evil's not too far off.
They think they're doing it for the kids' well-being, but...
So this has the backing of Catholic Community Services, because they want their deeply held religious beliefs to be respected. And if you are taking government funds and you want your deeply held religious beliefs to be respected, I say fuck you, pure and simple. It is being opposed by a social worker association. Let me look up the
social workers.
The actual name of the National Association of Social Workers.
Good for them.
Because they warn that this bill takes the focus off of the child.
Puts it onto the religion of the agency.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Hansen from the National Association of Social Workers told the committee, when we start talking about putting the moral convictions of agencies ahead of the good of children and families, we put ourselves in a situation where we may not be doing what is best for the child. Because, well, yeah.
Because that's exactly what they're doing.
That shouldn't need to be said.
Obviously it does.
Yeah.
Over and over.
After both Illinois and Indiana were forced by courts to allow secular celebrants to officiate weddings.
Yay.
The Ohio State Senate has now introduced a bill that would allow anyone to register to officiate weddings.
You're familiar with that, aren't you?
I have a online ordination.
Woohoo!
I have officiated weddings, and Idaho does not require you to register. They just require that you have some kind of credential that they never check.
Yay!
The only thing they check is what title you list for yourself on the marriage certificate. And if it's not on their approved list, they will call you and ask you to update it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what book he should take with him when he officiates weddings. I've seen some officiants take Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've got the leather-bound edition, so that would look nice.
You also got me a leather-bound edition of Origin of the Species.
Origin of the Species would be excellent.
I have a hardback copy of The God Delusion.
The God Delusion.
Depending on how in your
everything
face
you
you want
need
to
to
be.
know about nothing. yeah, there's a couple good ones out there.
I prefer to just take a notebook. I have a nice leather-bound notebook thing.
But the book is like, it's a symbol, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's the book. Answer to all of life's questions.
Yeah, so, but there's a couple of interesting things that this brings up. Is one, I actually don't like this bill.
What?
Yeah. If the whole point of it is when officiating weddings, you are serving as a ex officio officer of the state by virtue of some kind of title and credential. And the state is delegating that credentialing to somebody else to determine if you are suitable. I do think that atheist organizations should be free to endorse people or credential people to officiate weddings. But just opening it up to anyone, yes, there are online churches that do that, which already make the whole thing pointless and stupid.
Yeah. I'm sitting here going, Dustin, you're fighting a lost war there.
No, the war direction I want this to actually go. And so, here, what I was thinking about this yesterday. It was like, okay, so, like, in the one direction, I would like the whole officiating thing to be removed from law, period.
Yeah.
You get the license is it, legally. Whatever party you have, whoever's overseeing that, shouldn't be part of the law. But instead, the system that we have, I believe in all 50 states, is you go to the courthouse and you get a license. You then have to take it to somebody else. It can be someone at the courthouse, but you have to take it to somebody other than the clerk to get it officiated. When, no, it should just be you go to the courthouse.
Clerk should be able to do it. Judge,
you fill out the paperwork, the clerk reads you the vows, and you're done.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on vows either.
The legal vow being, do you take X to be your husband, wife, partner, spouse, whatever? That's the legal
entire
question.
Institution of marriage, with the rise of divorce, I think is kind of ridiculous anyway. It really is just a way of divvying up property.
It always has been.
Right. So what on earth is this guy in a sash doing when it comes? He has no business determining whether or not you're able to divvy up your property according to state law.
Yeah.
So the whole traditional wedding thing, I don't know. We did it, but we didn't need to.
We did it, and one of the factors was for the legal benefits.
Yeah.
Insurance
being the primary one. But there's a lot of people out there that don't need that.
Mm-hmm. And they don't need to get married.
Yeah.
It's
making an officiant an official person with credentials and stuff, to me, just seems a little meh.
If you're going to have that ceremonial role as part of the law, I think it should be somebody representing something doing it. And yeah, atheist organizations. I would even be fine with meetup groups being able to designate people. But just opening up to anyone, no, I'd rather just see that completely, just that part of it abolished.
Yeah. Well, open it up to anybody who's willing to fill out the paperwork and actually go and officiate.
Yeah. You still have to then go register.
There's only a type of person who's going to do that anyway.
Right. And yeah, the internet has basically made that point null, but I still
Universal Life Church.
I still want to see it.
I think you can get be officiant for like $10. Not even
free.
that. It's free with the
If you can then order the cards and certificates and everything.
Certificate for $10.
It's a $20 kit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and take our second break, since we are, not all that far in and running out of stuff.
Yay! It's a short episode.
We love hearing from our listeners. You can email us at contact@atheistnomads.com, tweet us @atheistnomads, send us a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/atheistnomads, or better yet, call us and leave us a message at 541-203-0666. We might even play it on the show. You can also help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcast directory of choice. All right, our final story is about the live-action Beauty and the Beast that is hitting theaters soon.
Which I made fun of a friend for, because I'm like, they showed the trailer. And I'm like, well, you don't need to see the movie. They just showed the entire movie in the trailer. And she pointed out, Lauren, you've already seen the movie animated. So that's not a point to argue. I'm like, oh, darn it.
This definitely seems to be following in the trend that we've seen in the last 10 years or so of children's entertainment being remade for adults.
Yeah.
When it's for the exact same audience, just 15, 20 years older.
Yeah. Basically, Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast. I don't know what other ones they've done, but I'm sure there will be lots.
All of Marvel and DC.
Well, these are specific cases where they're going back through the Disney catalog and remaking them almost shot for shot the same movie, but with live action and CGI, which, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, anyway, evangelist Franklin Graham wants to boycott the film because it includes a gay character. Yes.
Everybody's known he's been gay for frickin' 30 years.
There's a gay character, and he's going to have a gay moment with the villain. And so because of that, Graham made a call on Facebook for a boycott, and this has been shared more than 95,000 times.
90,000 of those times is people laughing and saying, I can't believe somebody's doing this. 5,000 of those people are like, oh yeah, totally legit. We should boycott this.
I think that the ratio would probably be the opposite.
No, I think Reddit got a hold of it and ran with it. Say, hey, look what these idiots are doing.
Time got a hold of this. Not just Reddit, but no, serious
yeah, that's true.
Media covered this. And what's awesome with boycotts is every time Christians try to boycott something, it backfires on them.
Backfires.
Because what it ends up doing...
Because now I totally want to see this movie and see just for that gay moment. I do.
What it does is it gets everybody's attention on it, provides so much more publicity because nobody is going to report on the fact that Beauty and the Beast is coming out and there is going to be a gay scene in it. Yeah, maybe a few pages might cover that, but Franklin Graham wants to boycott it.
Jump on that. Like sharks on chum.
And so all over the media, everybody now knows that Beauty and the Beast is hitting theaters soon. And, oh man, their tickets are probably going to be double or triple what they would have been without this boycott.
Yeah, it's true. I'll just wait for the scene to be leaked. Hilarious.
But the funniest boycott recently was Budweiser's pro-immigration Super Bowl commercial.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was... Conservatives were upset because they thought that was in direct response to Trump's refugee and immigration ban.
It was.
It was not. That had only been released for a few days. Super Bowl
Trump's
commercials.
rhetoric about immigrants had been going on for 2 years.
That had been, but it wouldn't have been directly related to that particular ban.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It was something they'd been working on for months when they wouldn't have thought that Trump was going to win. And the group that tried to start a boycott misspelled Budweiser for their hashtag.
Oops.
And Budweiser sales were not hurt by this. Budweiser sales, maybe.
Well, that's the thing about Bud, is that Bud drinkers, that's what they drink. They're not going to change their drink. You don't switch from Bud to Coors. That just doesn't happen. You drink Bud or you drink Coors.
Because if you're a Bud drinker, Coors tastes nasty.
Yeah.
And if you're a Coors drinker, Budweiser tastes nasty.
And what did they think? Budweiser was an English name? Jeez. That's oh my gosh. Hilarious. Well, I've got a few things that I want to report on real quick.
Oh, okay.
Since I'm here and full of milkshake. They have recorded for the first time on video a beaked whale. It's one of the rarest whales in the world, and somebody's finally caught it on video. So that's kind of cool for the whale lovers out there.
Nice, nice.
Very nice, very nice. And, oh yes, the giraffe still has not given birth as of this recording. So, maybe by the time it comes out tomorrow, but as of right now, the giraffe April has still not given birth.
In the meantime, that would be if the giraffe is born in the next 5 hours.
Yeah. In the meantime, Denver's giraffe had a baby, and nobody even noticed because it wasn't being live streamed. But because April the giraffe is being live streamed, everybody's been watching it since last Thursday. No, a week and a half ago that they've been watching this giraffe wander around and poop and pee and do giraffe things. Not giving birth.
Wow.
It's hilarious. I love the stuff that goes viral.
That is cool.
And finally, a shout out to all the women atheists out there who have it particularly hard because atheism, humanism, well, I wouldn't say humanism so much, but the whole secular vibe is very much a man's game. And when you speak up about being an atheist or being secularist, you get shut down really easily, especially on social media if you're a woman. So in honor of International Women's Day, which is today that we're recording, I salute you.
You're here.
Yes. All of the hoo-has.
I raise my drink to all women, whether they have hoo-has or not.
There we go. I don't have a drink to raise, but I drank all of my milkshake already. Really, I sucked that down in not even 10 minutes.
No, I do want to actually get back on the immigrant thing because Trump is again releasing a new executive order, this time dropping Iraq from the banned list.
Thank you. I mean, we go in and destroy their country and then stop accepting the refugees. Kind of a dick move.
It's still not gonna fly.
No.
With the refugee part, I highly recommend going to YouTube and the Vlogbrothers channel. John did a video on a refugee family getting reunited. Absolutely touching. He's been working with this one of the refugee resettlement organizations in Indianapolis, and was very excited to not only that this family got to be reunited, but that he got to be there and film it, and has gotten to know this guy because what had happened was they were both Burmese refugees in Indonesia. They met, fell in love, got married, had a baby, but since they had started their refugee applications to the U.S., their asylum applications separately when they were not married, they got processed separate.
At different times. Oh.
And so when she was 7 months pregnant, he got accepted. And it's kind of one of those...
Which is weird.
You only get the one shot.
Yeah.
So he took it, and he got to meet his 5-year-old son for the first time.
Aww. 5 years.
Yeah.
You'd figure that a pregnant refugee would have priority status or something. And like, psh,
yeah.
No, I guess not.
This was a family. They'd been waiting for years. And that's how long these families end up waiting. It's not a quick, easy process. It is a very long, very slow, very brutal process to get granted asylum. And we use the term refugee so much that the word asylum has gotten dropped out of it in public rhetoric. And no, what it is, you apply for asylum. If you're granted it, you are a refugee. And everyone who is fleeing from a horrible hellhole where they are not safe, yeah, they should at least be given the opportunity for asylum. Yeah, the U.S. shouldn't take every single refugee out there. That would be too much of a strain. Other countries need to do their part too. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do our part.
Yeah, we're a world. I mean, if you can jump on a plane and be in a different country in less than a couple of hours, you got to consider that maybe isolationism is a little old hat.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look out for other countries. They'll look out for you in the future. Pat backs. Prevent World War III, preferably.
Mm-hmm.
Get along with your neighbors and get along with the people who need help. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
We get a lot of that here in Boise, and it's heartening to see that Boise is really... They've stood up as a very pro-refugee city, despite some of the rest of the state's inclinations.
Or heck, even the rest of the valley.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Boise's... when people say Boise's a little blue dot in a red state, it's even a blue dot in its county.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It just seems to me that refugees should be a bipartisan issue, and it's not. It's weird. Anyway.
Well, and it can be a bipartisan issue if they're Christian refugees.
Yeah, it's only if they're Muslim and if they're only from certain countries. Like how Saudi Arabia is still not on the list.
Although right now, if you are a Christian refugee from, say, Syria or South Sudan, you're on the outs. But yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's
well, they
bullshit.
have to deny those guys so that they don't appear to be anti-Muslim, which is funny because that's exactly what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stupid from an atheist point of view.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and both from the standpoint of, yeah, don't let Muslims in, but let the Christians in. You know, they both believe in bullshit. But it's also stupid from an atheist point of view that we have to fucking defend Muslims.
Yeah. Funny how that happens. Now, some atheists choose not to, and I kind of shruggingly accept that. I'm like, I get it. I get what you're coming from. But as a humanist, sorry, doesn't fly.
Now, I don't find myself able to get where atheists who are anti-Muslim are coming from, because the problem isn't the person, it's the belief.
Right, and some people think that your belief makes you
being anti-Islam,
idiot or something.
Being anti-Islam, that's fine. Being anti-Muslim, no.
Okay,
no.
well,
that's stupid. Be anti-Christianity, don't be anti-Christian.
Yeah, but I get the other point of view too.
Okay.
I really do. People of certain religions tend to act in certain ways. And even if they don't act in that way, they belong to a group that says it's okay to act that way. And that can be frustrating sometimes. You take your anger out on that. You vent about it on Facebook. It's okay, I think. But then again, we're also living in an age where if you're a Jew in America, you're hiding out again for the first time in freaking 70 years. If you're a Muslim, you better not go outside. It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah,
so
there was
maybe
another Sikh has been killed out of anti-Muslim hate.
Yeah.
And that was in Seattle.
So just to clarify, Sikh, S-I-K-H, is not Muslim, right?
Right.
So stop threatening Indians because they're the same color as the Muslims.
Okay, now 20% of Indians are Muslim.
Okay, well, this is true, but there have been situations, I think, somewhere in the East Coast where people have been threatened for... They're basically getting threatened for the color of their skin and being lumped into as a Muslim group, anti-Muslim group. And,
Arab Christians get as much hate as anybody else from Christians because they hate Muslims, and they can't wrap their head around the fact that there are a lot of... In Palestine, somewhere between 30 and 50% are Christian. In Lebanon, it's around a third. Syria, I think it's 15-20%.
Yeah, so I mean, if
Egypt,
your prejudice
10%.
is if you make a simple mistake like that in your prejudice, then you have to rethink about where your prejudice is coming from. Is it really religion based, or is it race based?
Yeah,
we don't really put up with racist bullshit.
And that's one of the problems with the whole Islamophobia thing, is that whole concept has made it so that Muslims have blurred that line. And that sucks. They blurred the line to tell basically if you're brown in some parts of the world, at least, brown equals Muslim. No, not necessarily. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to feedback.
Yay, best part of the show.
We got a whole bunch of links from Alan. So, Alan, thank you. Richard responded to the mailbag episode with, "Hey, I'm 61 and 6'3".
I do not remember what that is in reference to.
It was something about height, and we were talking about Trump's height and questioning whether or not at his age, how likely he would still be that height.
Oh, that's right. There's exceptions to the rule.
Richard, I am not doubting that you are 6'3", but by far the norm is that by 70, people have lost quite a few inches, and they have a tendency to continue to claim their height from when they were younger.
Yeah.
My grandpa claimed 5'9" until the day he died. By about 80, he was shorter than my mom, who's was 5'5". She's now probably more like 5'3".
It's funny how height is a source of pride when it's just completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, the norm is for people to lose height. I'm not doubting that you are 6'3". You've
got 10 years, buddy. Enjoy it.
Yeah. You'll be lucky if you're 6'1" by 70. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. You're still over 6 foot.
Well, that's not the point. Oh my god! I'm gonna throw something at him. All I have is a chihuahua, though, so I'm not going to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we got a new patron. Danielle.
Danielle! Woo!
We didn't mention haven't mentioned the last several episodes of Sci-Fi Nomads on here, but we did one recently with our friends Josh and Danielle. We talked about Space Truckers.
Space Truckers.
A 1996 sci-fi about the last independent truck driver in space. Oh, terrible movie, fun episode.
Yes. Actually, fun movie.
Yeah. And that's it for this week. Hopefully we'll be back in full strength next week. So all that remains is to remind you that not all those who wander are lost.
As a listener of the show, I'm going to assume you love...
Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Atheist Nomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.